What's up, everybody? Tall Hiker here. I got another gear review for you. This is on the 6 Moon Designs Lunar Duo, the Explorer model. There's two different 6 Moon Design Lunar Duos. One is lighter than the other one. I have the lighter of the two. 6 Moon Design claims that it's 41 ounces. We're going to throw it on the scale here in just a second and see what it actually weighs. This tent, this is it right here. I've used this probably 20 times in the last year. I've had it for about a year. I've used it at least 20 times, probably more than that. I go camping a lot. Dual entrance, 2 vestibules. They're pretty big vestibules. You got vents all the way around. It is a single layer tent, shelter, tarp tent. Single piece bathtub floor, floating canopy. Now, in order to use this shelter, how they make it so light is you have to use trekking poles, or you have to buy aluminum poles that are 45 inches in order to support it. I use trekking poles. I do a lot of hiking in the Smoky Mountains, down in the Red River Gorge area. Lots of elevation change. I use trekking pole. Tarp tents, it can be a little tricky. It's not super easy, but compared to a conventional tent where you have a net and then a full rain canopy, rain fly, it is a lot lighter, but it can be a little tricky to set up. This is not a freestanding shelter. You need at least 6 stakes. And if you're 6'6" like me, you're a tall guy, you're over 6 foot, 6'2", you're gonna need an extra 2 stakes to tie out the guy out the ends. You'll see that in a few minutes when I set it up. Let me go through the specs here, and then we'll take it out and check it out. It's a 2-person shelter, 3 seasons, sleeps 2 people. Pack size is 15 inches by 6. Their claimed weight is 41 ounces. It's pretty close, but we'll see here in a second. I'm going to throw it on a scale. Canopy is 30D silicone nylon. Floor is 30D silicone nylon. Netting is 20D ultralight no-seam number 5 zipper pulls. The weight does not include stakes or poles. These are made for if you're going to be doing through hiking the Appalachian Trail. This is a tent for you. You're probably going to have trekking poles anyways. You can save the weight big time. The inside of the shelter is 54 by 90. Under the vestibules, the outside dimensions is 116 by 116. It's a pretty big tent. $310 is the current price for the Lunar Duo Explorer. Again, I've had it for almost a year now. I've used it probably 20 times. This is it right here. This is the shelter, the guy lines, and there's 2 aluminum poles that help really make it big and wide at the top. 43.8 ounces. Again, I've used this shelter a lot. There's probably some mud and some dirt. I've got an extra 2 guy lines in there to guy out the ends because I'm tall. In order for me to fit in it, you have to guy out the ends. You'll see that in a few minutes when I set it up. It's probably the extra couple ounces, and it is seam sealed. I don't know if they factor the seam sealing into that 41 ounces or not, but the weight that I'm getting is 43.8 ounces. That's still pretty doggone good. And I'm using some Lecky cork-like trekking poles to set it up, and I've got aluminum stakes. Now, if you want to go lighter, you can go titanium. Titanium stakes are like $4 a piece. These are like 70 cents, something like that, at Dick's Sporting Goods, REI, you can get them for about 70, 80 cents, less than $1. And they're not that much heavier than titanium. I mean, if you're really crazy, gram crazy, and you got a ton of money, titanium is the way to go. Alright, so let's go outside and we'll set this baby up. Alright everybody, I'm in my backyard right now. Set this baby up. These are the aluminum poles I was telling you all about. Those. And the sill nylon stuff sack. See if I can do this where you can see it. Now this there's a red tab marked right here. This is where you insert the top. This just slides in, and there's like a little rubber stretchy piece of fabric that goes over top of it and holds it in. Now once you get to here, you're going to zip that side down and back. Zip everything back up on that side. Now we're going to go through and do the same thing. You can see how clean it is. Use the heck out of this shelter. Alright, do the same thing on the other side. Got our pole, it breaks down into pieces. It's got a little piece of shock cord there. Insert it here. Push it in. Goes over it. Same as before. We're going to zip this down. You want to zip the doors down. Got some Line Lock 3s on here. These are awesome. You've got adjustable ends here. This is where your steak's going to go through. There's 4 of these, one on each corner. And then you've got the mesh. And then this is the bathtub floor. So, we're going to spread this out. All I'm doing here, you want to leave some adjustment. You can put your steak in, pull it out, angle it out, push it down. Do the same thing on this side. I like to have a little bit of adjustment. It's not all the way loose, it's not all the way tight. You just gently pull it out. You're going to be doing a little bit of it. These are stretchy. And this is where your steak goes through, like that. Because the floor is going to float. That's what you're going to do. You take your trekking pole and you want to set it about 45 inches. It should be 110 centimeters. Sometimes depending on what kind of weather you have, you can adjust it up and down. Trekking pole tip, the pointy end is going to go in this grommet. Put that in there. come down. Now you have to stake out this end, otherwise it will just fall up. That's why it's not a freestanding tent. Find your grommet. Okay. Check what's in it. What I like to do is grab the line so it doesn't pop out. If this pops out, you're going to go right through the top of your tent. Get that down. There. Now I'm doing right now is I'm grabbing the line lock 3 and I'm just tightening it just to snug it up so I got some adjustment room. Come around here and just take this and just gently snug it up as you go around. Alright, on the side guy lines, you've got a closure with the prusik knot. If you don't know what a prusik knot is, if you grab it real close, it slides real easy. But you pull on the end, it doesn't move. So, pull this down, and so our zipper side is over here. So what I'll do is hook the opposite side. Get on there. And then pull it down tight. It could probably be a little bit tighter. If you're under 6 foot, you're done. If you're over 6 foot, I'm 6'6", a little bit more work to do, but before I do that, I'm going to show you just around the outside. So you got vestibules on each side. I've got one of the doors open here. Let me sit this down right now. The logo on this side, 6 Moons Designs Lunar Duo Explorer. This is the Ultralight model. If you're a tall person like myself, you have to do this part. So you're going to have this one. I've already got tied. I'm just going to stick it in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the sides up here. Now one of these sides is has a zipper door, so you can pull this open, roll this back. You can put your shoes in there. You can put your backpack, what have you. It's going to stay nice and dry if it's raining. As you can see, it's a floating floor. It's stretchy. And then depending on how tight you pitch it, right now I've got it pitched pretty low. Depending on if you got storms or not, if it's going to be a nice warm night, you can open it up. You can, this side zips open, that side does not, and it's the same thing on the other side. Now you can leave this like this, which is usually what I do, or you can do that on both sides. Or you can leave one side up, one side down. You can see straight through to the other side. Plenty of room. I've actually had 3 people in this tent. It was tight, but it's doable. I had a child, and my son, and one other person in here. It's getting cold. One of us was in a hammock, and it was getting a bit too cold for the hammock, so we all 3 ended up in here. Again, you can adjust the floor up and down depending on how tight you pitch the sides. Loosen these up, adjust the trekking pole up or down, and you can get the floor to raise up and down. Just take you around it. The one big concern you have with a single wall shelter like this one is condensation. You can still have condensation with a regular tent. There's ways to control it though. So it then zips from here up like this. And you've got basically single layer here, single layer here, you get the net, and then this is a single layer. And you've got netting, and then you got a bathtub floor, which the way I have it pitched right now isn't really showing too great of a bathtub floor, but if you loosen the pitch up and raise the poles up a little bit, you actually get a bathtub floor. I'm going to lay down this so you can see. So I'm 6'6". And I've got plenty of room. My feet, I got room for my feet. Got plenty of headroom here. Now even, I have a long sleeping bag is what I sleep in, obviously, because I wouldn't fit in the small one. Anyways, even in my sleeping bag on a pad, I use a NeoAir X-Lite 2.5-inch pad with a long bag, and I still got room. As you can see, I'm 6'6" and I still got headroom here. That's pretty awesome. For a tall guy to find a lightweight 2-person shelter, $310. It's not crazy. It's actually pretty good. You got a pocket right here. Put your keys in. You got another pocket on the other side. All right. So as you can see, I'm 6'6", and if I sit up perfectly straight, I still got some room, and I can actually pitch it taller. It's the beauty of a tarp tent like this is you've got options. You can pitch it high, you can pitch it a little bit low, depending on how you stake it out. You can actually change the dimensions a little bit. With the traditional tent, you can't do that. You're pretty much stuck. The way it is You can take the rain fly off, put the rain fly on, that's pretty much it. You can't really do much else. See the little pocket right here? Put your keys in, which is usually what I do. Condensation, the way to combat that, I'll show you in just a second, is what will happen is you get a little bit of moisture. You get a little bit of moisture on the inside of your shelter. And a lot of people, including myself, have a little pack towel. You can wipe it down, but there's ways to completely avoid it. And it's all about airflow. And even when it's pretty cold, you can have this thing sealed up pretty tight. And if you stake out the other ends, I'll show you that in just a second, you can get some more airflow. And I've actually been in this 30 degrees, and I had both vestibules zipped down. I had the ends opened up, which I'm going to show you in just a second, and I had zero condensation. Every time I've had a condensation problem in this shelter is when I didn't stake out the ends, like I'm going to show you here in just a second. So if you want to avoid, with this particular shelter, if you want to avoid condensation problems altogether, here's what you do, is you go walk around your campsite and find some little sticks like these, like this. This works. Grab a couple little sticks. I'm going to show you what to do. Take your stick, you're going to break off probably about 6 inches, of twig. You're going to need, there's one that's sitting there. You're going to need 4 of these, and what you do is you're going to take it, stick it in the ground, in this strap right here where it's reinforced, is you're going to stick it underneath that. You might have to play around with the height. Loosen it up just a touch. You're going to do that on all 4 sides. Loosen it up just a little bit. Stick under there. And all I did was just stick a couple sticks under there just to get a little bit more airflow. And every time that I have done this on all 4 sides, I've never had a condensation problem. I've had probably 3 times out of the probably close to 20 times that I've used the shelter. 3 times I've had condensation problems, and every single time I had a condensation problem, I forgot to do that. Every time. Fantastic shelter. Absolutely love it. I've used it probably 20 times. Take my son hiking with it. We go hiking, we'll both sleep in it. I actually have the Lunar Solo. The single person version of this tent I have for when I go out by myself. It's only 24 ounces. I'm going to do a review of that here pretty soon. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, message me on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Please like, rate, and subscribe. Thank you.